Welcome to the Contrarians, where we are right and you are wrong. I'm Julio.
And I'm Alex. Here on the show, we rage against the Rotten Tomatoes machine. For the first half of each episode, Contrarians Corner, we trash the fresh red tomatoes and praise the rotten green splotches, making our case any way we can.
The aptly titled Real Talk serves as the second half of each episode. This is where we discuss our true feelings on the movie we're covering. For more information on our podcast and to browse past episodes, you can head over to our website, wearethecontrarians.com.
From there, you can also access our Patreon and merchandise, because capitalism.
If you enjoy our attempts at comedic film discussions, we encourage you to subscribe and leave us a review on whatever podcatcher you use.
If you'd like to reach out to us directly, that's what social media is for. You can find us on most platforms as @ContrarianPrime.
You can also see what we look like if you go to youtube.com/@ContrarianPrime, and you can contact us by email at wearethecontrarians@gmail.com.
I think that covers it.
Then it's time for the podcast. And we are recording for Contrarians Corner for Casablanca, also known as the original Barbed Wire.
I'll take it. I don't know if Ingrid Bergman is quite up there with Pam Anderson, but I'll take it.
Well, she doesn't have to be, because Pam Anderson is Rick.
Oh, touche. Man, you imagine this era, Humphrey Bogart and 90s Pam Anderson just tearing it up on screen together.
Imagine Humphrey Bogart doing a little striptease dance to open the movie.
Why not? It's like all he does is take off the blazer of his suit, and then it's just like, all right, enough dilly-dallying. Let's get to work.
Don't call me babe.
Hello, and welcome to the Contrarians, where we're right and you're wrong. As yes, Humphrey Bogart, Ingrid Bergman, Paul Henreid, all here. The gang's all here today as we tackle the 1942 classic. I mean, this has got to be one of the most celebrated films in the history of the medium, which kind of surprises me. It's taken us this long to figure out a way to shoehorn it into one of our episodes. But it's Casablanca, man. Here's looking at you, kid. All the gin joints, beautiful friendship. There's at least like 6 lines of dialogue in this that are there are people that have never seen this movie that have either heard or used it. You know what I mean?
Yes.
It's almost like I'll be back.
As I was taking note every time that an iconic line came up, I was like, man, this is like when we were doing the Jerry Maguire episode. Was this ghost written by Cameron Crowe's great-great-great-grandfather? Maybe.
Julio, we recently took a trip to the 1940s. And even
in real life, you mean? Like the United States regressed to...
Well, yes, that. But our friend Charles Chaplin provided us with The Great Dictator. Not only cinema in the 1940s, but also the early stages of World War II, which this movie deals with as well. Thankfully, though, there's a bit of whitewashing and a bit of America over the whole fray. So,
are you telling me, Alex, that America saves the day?
in Morocco, in Germany, wherever it needs to be done, America will save the day.
Here, there, wherever we are, America will prevail.
I mean, it's Casablanca, Best Picture winner in the National Film Registry. Roger Ebert said of it, if there is ever a time when they decide that some movies should be spelled with an uppercase M, Casablanca should be voted first on the list of movies with a capital M there. It's not hyperbolic to say it's one of the most famous and celebrated films of all time. So, of course, that means that it doesn't have 100% on Rotten Tomatoes because someone has to get their licks in. It is currently at 99%. Certified fresh based on 136 reviews with a 95% audience score, the popcorn meter, the popcorn bucket standing tall, red, and erect with over 250,000 reviews. So, Julio, plenty to choose from in terms of reviews. Which quotes did you pull for us?
Plenty to choose from when it comes to fresh. When it comes to rotten, and we'll get to this in real talk, there is one rotten quote worth rescuing.
Armin White?
No, surprisingly, maybe even he thought that it was too obvious. I will abstain from publishing my review. No, I had to go to Letterboxd, and boy, did I regret it. Well, that's more real talk teasing for you, but it gets dark once you do a specific search for Casablanca reviews that are 1 star or less.
Mm.
It's like when you start going down YouTube comments. And you're like, what am I doing with my life?
Yep. I know what you mean.
But anyway, this is a collection of fresh quotes. I'm going to start with David Cornelius from DVDtalk.com, who says, "This is it, the best movie ever made." He made this proclamation, Alex, in 2009, just so you know.
Really nowhere to go from there, man.
Right. Other than 2010 and beyond. So in 2009, what was he completely shrugging off as the best movie ever made? I mean, by then
Terminator 2.
Yeah.
2009. Maybe it was his protest to Avatar.
Oh, there you go. He said, if that make a stand now, who knows what would happen a few years down the line? Avatar 2, 3, 4? You gotta tell Cameron what's what. Next, David Denby from The New Yorker says, "Casablanca is the most sociable, the most companionable film ever made. Life as an endless party." I think he watched the cut where the Nazis don't crash the party.
What? That's like that Simpsons joke of where they chop up Gone with the Wind to show at the old folks' home.
Yeah, he watched the cut of Casablanca. That's just everybody hanging out at Rick's.
It's like 20 minutes long.
Ilsa shows up. Sam starts playing the song. Rick comes out, and he just smiles. Like, hey, haven't seen you in a while. Next, Nell Minow from Common Sense Media says, "Every kid should see this Bogart classic." It's not a kid's movie, Alex. Even considering that, of course, there's not a whole lot of graphic violence. I mean, a couple of people get shot, and there's definitely not a lot of sex going on, at least on screen. But even so, I would think most kids would be bored, maybe a little confused.
You run a risk doing that.
I would say teenager, maybe older teenager. Maybe that's when you sit them to watch at least the first 20 minutes and see how it plays. We're going to close with Michael Wilmington from the Chicago Tribune, who says, "Nobody lights a torch like Ingrid Bergman's Ilsa or carries one like Humphrey Bogart's Rick. Nobody 2 times her husband like Ilsa. Nobody is overtly aggressive towards an ex like Rick. These are not nice people, Alex. I don't know that we should be putting them on a pedestal."
They certainly, at least until the very end, all seem out for number one and fuck everybody else.
In some cases, literally.
Yes.
Captain Renault is like, "Sleep with me, I'm French."
I think now I shall pay a call on Yvonne. Maybe get on the rebound, huh?
Well, when it comes to women, you're a true Democrat.
That was the last quote, Alex. So let's go into Contrarians Corner. Let's see if we can find somebody to sign our papers.
In December 1941, American expatriate Rick Blaine owns a nightclub and gambling den in Casablanca. This is Morocco, I believe. Rick's Café Americain attracts varied clientele, including Vichy French and Nazi Germany officials, refugees desperate to reach the still neutral United States, and those who prey on them. Although Rick professes to be neutral in all matters, he ran guns to Ethiopia in 1935 and fought on the Republican side in the Spanish Civil War. Immediate thing here, Humphrey Bogart regarded as like all-time cool guy in this movie, when in fact he's a war criminal.
It's worse than that, Alex. He's neutral at a time where people shouldn't be neutral. You should take a side. You know, like when Nazis are threatening the world, saying, "No, I'm just going to sit this one out," it's almost as bad as supporting the Nazis. Rick didn't vote in the last election. He was like, "Nah, I don't like either. I think they're both just as bad."
All politics are the same.
Yeah.
All politicians lie. Yeah, exactly.
I'm just going to open my bar here and just watch the world go to shit.
I do have to ask, Julio, the French national anthem kicks off like 5 or 6 times throughout this movie. Did you start just breaking into All You Need Is Love by the Beatles?
No.
That's what I did at the very end, because that opening riff hits at the end, and I just love, love, love.
What gets played the most? The French national anthem, or what's Sam's song? The one that he's not allowed to play, therefore he plays like 10 times in the movie.
Oh God! And
as time goes by, as luck would have it.
And the fella that plays it is so sick of playing it by the end. It's like that joke in Step Brothers. We're strictly 80s Joel, sir. Petty Crook Ugarte boasts to Rick of letters of transit obtained by murdering 2 German couriers. The papers allow the bearers to freely travel around German-occupied Europe, and to neutral Portugal. Ugarte plans to sell them at the club and persuades Rick to hold them for him. Before he can meet his contact, Ugarte is arrested by local police under Captain Louis Renault, the unabashedly corrupt prefect of police. Ugarte dies without revealing that Rick has the letters. All right, Renault here we get introduced to pretty quickly. I guess he's supposed to be funny.
Claude Rains, right? So if Rick is cool, he is charming, right? Because Rick's not charming. He's just cool. Everybody wants to be Rick, but everybody wants to hang out with Renault. I think that's the distinction. Corrupted. There is an underlying seediness to his character that becomes more and more evident as the movie goes on, to where you just can't ignore it.
He's at least upfront about it, whereas throughout the entire movie, Rick tries to hold out for moral turpitude.
That's true. So Rick is in his own way, he's almost as corrupt as Renault, but he doesn't tell you about it. It's like Renault is pretty happy bragging about how he's basically exchanging sexual favors in order to sign visas, which is pretty repugnant, I think, even by 1940 standards. But the movie, I mean, he's like the fun sidekick. The movie's designed to make you cheer.
He really is.
When he finally rejects the Nazis, you're like, that was the last thing that I was waiting for him to do. Now I can fully embrace him. I also think, and you know what, in this day and age of people projecting readings into movies and whatever, there's no way that I'm the first person to say this, but he 100% has a crush on Rick, right?
It would seem that way.
I mean, there's a couple times where he even like jokingly says, "I'm getting jealous, Rick." And I was like, bet you are. You too. The beautiful friendship, it's going to be more than that after the credits roll. I'm pretty sure that it's only a matter of time, because he is pretty funny and charming, and, he's French. So once Ilsa's out of the picture, I think it's only a matter of time before Rick decides to give Renault a try.
I mean, not to spoil anything, but we just talked about the comic relief sidekick here. I think we already know who's getting penciled in for the Josh Gad minute on our post credits.
Josh Gad with a French accent, sure, why not? Ugarte, Alex, Peter Lorre. I've seen this movie before, but it's been a while, so I was surprised that he gets like maybe one scene and then they kill him off screen. That's it for Peter Lorre. No respect. It's like Rodney Dangerfield here. Comes in, does his bit. I mean, talk about somebody else that has a crush on Rick. I think maybe that's the thing in the movie. Everybody is just so in awe with Rick. And I guess there's not a whole lot going on in Casablanca.
Everyone just wants to party at the American club.
Yeah. And the American that runs it is just like the superstar that you just start having very, very strong feelings toward him, as time goes by. And then, because we're running down the characters, like Sam, the piano player, I think he's the most sensible person in the movie, which of course means that he gets very little screen time. He's just relegated to play the piano and every now and then coming in and trying to talk some sense into the people that are bumbling around this story. What do you make of Sam? Like at first, the first 30 minutes or so, I was like, man, he is the only entertainment in that bar.
The hardest working man.
Yeah.
He seems pretty sharp. He seems like he keeps his head down, but he knows information about everybody. He seems like he does enough and knows enough to protect himself, which I respect.
So here's my pitch, Alex. Why didn't we make Casablanca the story of Sam? Why would you put the most interesting, the smartest character in the background? You should have made it about Sam, the piano player.
I mean, if you're looking for an argument, I don't think you're going to find it here, man. I did take note here, Julio, of when the officials are asking Humphrey Bogart his nationality. He says, "I'm a drunkard." I thought that, that's print that on my tombstone type shit.
Renault is like, that means that he's a citizen of the world.
Yeah, like Aldous Snow. Then the reason for Rick's cynical nature, former lover Ilsa Lund enters his establishment, spotting Rick's friend and house pianist Sam. Ilsa asks him to play As Time Goes By.
Play it once, Sam. For all time's sake.
I don't know what you mean, Miss Elsa.
Play it, Sam. Play as time goes by.
Rick storms over, furious that Sam disobeyed his orders to never perform that song again, and is stunned to see Ilsa. She's accompanied by her husband, Victor Lazlo, a renowned fugitive Czechoslovakian resistance leader. I've never run into an ex in a situation like this, but I can imagine it's pretty distressing.
What situation is that, Alex? Where you own a bar and she shows up?
I own my own fucking gambling den in another country.
World war is raging around you.
Yeah.
And she shows up with the guy that's a key player in said World War. Ingrid Bergman is too pretty. Pretty doesn't do it justice. She's too beautiful for this movie. Right? We were okay. Like, Rick's is, for all the prestige, it's kind of like Mos Eisley, but in the real world.
Who shot first then? I mean, Humphrey Bogart very clearly shoots first at the end.
Not Ilsa, as the movie shows you. But yeah, she is. Once she shows up, there's just this. I feel like there's a spotlight on her. Like everything else dims around her, and then she has this glow. Everybody else looks like they're going through war, and this lady, I get it, she's gorgeous, but maybe we could have done a little bit more to even the field when it comes to looks in this movie. It reminded me a little bit of one of my favorite movies, Alex, The Book of Eli, where everybody's pretty grimy.
Can't wait to see where this is going. I just fucking spit on my computer screen, you asshole.
Well, no, The Book of Eli, everybody's, it's post-apocalyptic and everybody looks like shit. They're covered in dust and they're wearing rags. And then here comes Mila Kunis, and she's like, she just stepped out of a commercial for Noxema or something. And she just looks great.
Yeah.
So a little bit of that here with Ingmar Bergman. I just compared Ingmar Bergman to Mila Kunis. So I hope Mila Kunis is honored.
As as one does.
Yeah. But anyway, she, I guess the one thing where the beauty works is that it 100% makes you understand why Rick would be such a mess. But I agree with you. I've never been in this situation myself either. But also, I find it hard to believe that many people have. Because what are the odds? Like, it's a big world out there. And for them to land in the one country on the one bar, like the one gin joint, Alex.
It's quite unlikely.
Well, I mean, seriously, I was waiting the rest of the movie. I was waiting for the reveal where Ilsa was going to say that she knew that Rick was there. And that's why they traveled there, that she knew that he would be able to help. But that's not the case. And then I was like, oh, so really it was just a coincidence? Come on.
All the gin joints, all the towns.
Like, she could have ended at, what is it? The Blue Dahlia? What's the competitor?
I don't remember, but, there's Rick's and then, Stan's. There's a few doors down. She just went in there. We get an elongated flashback sequence at this point that reveals Ilsa left Rick without explanation when the couple were planning to flee Germany as the army neared Paris. And this, of course, left Rick very spurned and low. Lazlo and Ilsa need the letters to escape, while German Major Strasser arrives in Casablanca to prevent that. So, Julio, this flashback sequence, what? We're talking like 20 minutes here or something? The main thing I remember is they're like in a hotel together, and he's like, you hear that tank or whatever? He's like, it's about 35 miles out. It's like, how the fuck do you know Humphrey Bogart?
Because he's cool, Alex. He's cool. The movie turns into a bit of a romantic comedy for a while, and I don't know that it's funny because Ingmar Bergman looks the same, whether she's in Casablanca present day or she's in Paris in the past. She just looks, like I said, radiant. Humphrey Bogart, they do their best to clean him up in the flashbacks.
Mm-hmm.
And so he looks a little happier. But he still looks like a man that's been beaten down by life. And then they're trying to sell us this montage of them falling in love. They go to the fair. They walk around a fountain. They hold hands. Bogey deploys his catchphrase. Here's looking at you, kid. Like, he does it at least, I think, 2 times in the flashback, and he does it at least 2 other times once we get back to the present.
Oh yeah, it's not one time that he says it. This is one of the iconic lines from this, so I think sometimes people just assume it's at the very end, the teary goodbye. But no, this is he workshops it throughout the movie.
I think at some point they should have shown that Ilsa's kind of like sick of it. They could have done two things. One, he starts like, here's looking at it, and she goes, I know. She just shrugs it off. Or even better, we should have seen him use, here's looking at you, kid, on someone else at the bar.
Oh, just to get under her skin. Yeah.
Yeah, with that girl that he puts in the taxi earlier in the movie. she's too drunk, and she's like, no, I want to keep drinking. And he just like looks at her straight up, and he's like, here's looking at you, kid. Puts her in the cab. Goodbye. It's like the squirrels to the nuts.
Squirrels to the nuts. When Lazlo makes inquiries, Signor Ferrari, an underworld figure and Rick's friendly business rival, divulges his suspicion that Rick has the letters. Lazlo returns to Rick's cafe that night and tries to buy them. Rick refuses to sell, telling Lazlo to ask his wife why.
What a dick.
Dude, yeah. It's like, you still taste me on the lips?
Move on, man.
Yeah.
I mean, this is not a sympathetic character, right? It's,
Rick or Lazlo?
I guess either, but at least Lazlo has a higher calling. Rick, by now, does he know? Yeah, he knows. He knows they're married. So, and I think that by now he's figured out that, has she told him that she was married to Lazlo when they met? I don't remember. I think that might happen later.
Yeah, she tells him later in the movie.
Okay, but whatever the case, he's still, look, she left you in Paris. She's with someone else now. She seems happy. It seems like this was all a coincidence. She didn't come into your bar to like fuck with you. So you got to let it go, man. Just stop being petty. You're like in your mid-40s, Humphrey Bogart. You need to rise to the occasion and just sit back, enjoy the fact that you have the one successful business in Casablanca. You're going to let this one go. I mean, he could have made so much money in just by selling the letters to Lazlo.
Are you enough of a businessman to appreciate an offer of 100,000 francs?
I appreciate it, but I don't accept it.
I'll raise it to 200,000.
My friend, you could make it 1,000,000 francs or 3. My answer would still be the same.
I have a note here that says, oh yeah, war, because it kind of dips in and out of reminding you that World War II is going on.
Do you think that is because the Nazis are kind of underwhelming? I know I made this point when we did, what's the movie in Switzerland that you love? Mad Heidi, with its allegories to Nazis and World War II and whatever. And at that time, much like now with Casablanca, I felt like seeing Nazis on screen has lost its power now that we have neo-Nazis running around in the real world. And so the main bad guy here, he must have been pretty terrifying back in the 40s.
Colonel Klink.
I felt that they were pretty law-abiding up to a point, the Nazis in Casablanca.
Yeah.
Right? Like, they're literally have a drink with Lazlo. The dude, like, I understand that it's a neutral area, that technically they're supposed to, follow the rules, but they shot Ugarte earlier, right? Without really any trial, like there was no due process. So what kept him from they know that Lazlo is an even more dangerous figure. So I was very confused by the fact that they didn't kill him. They didn't arrest him right away. They just kind of let him walk around. And I guess, it just, in my mind, Nazis are a lot more dangerous now than they were back then, even in a place like Casablanca. Like this movie really...
I mean, this kind of bleeds into real talk a little bit, but it is kind of our discussion. It's reminiscent of our discussion of The Great Dictator, of like what Chaplin said was he wouldn't have made that movie if he knew how bad it was and how bad things were going to get. And I think, this movie is only 2 years removed from that. So I think there is an interesting idea that
Michael Curtis didn't want to ruffle feathers.
Yeah, or just the general lack of understanding of how bad it was. Because you're right in this. It's like you could almost watch this and be like, "Oh, can't we just get along?"
Right? Can't they just sing a different song, everybody together?
Play La Marseillaise. Play it.
Oh, I have my note here. Speaking of Rick's mental state and his refusal to let go, and Sam being the voice of reason. When Woody tells Buzz, "You are a toy." I wanted Sam to just grab Rick or like, "You were a fling."
Yeah, but sometimes those hurt the worst, man. So Rick and Lazlo are interrupted when Strasser and his group of German officials begin singing Die Weich am Rhein. And any German listeners out there, I'm trying.
You sound like Chaplin.
Schnimmers. What's that in Beer Fest? Mr. Spickle Spackle. Lazlo orders the house band to play La
French anthem.
Yeah, I want to get this right, though. Lazlo orders the house band to play La Marseillaise, and Rick allows it. Patriotism grips the crowd, and everyone joins in, drowning out the Germans. Afterwards, Strausser and Renault close the club on a flimsy pretext. So yes, music is the enemy, as we always know. Rock and roll will kill the world. And in this case, the Germans are like, well, hold on a minute. They got too much dip on their chip over there.
Have we tried singing La Marseillaise at the White House or Congress over this past year? Or is it supposed to be, are we supposed to do the American anthem here?
I don't even know if, I would be curious how many in the positions of power in the U.S. government right now, and the presidential cabinet, how many of those people could extemporaneously recite the national anthem?
They wouldn't be angry. They'd be confused. They're like, what is this?
Yeah.
What does this mean?
They would start off and be like, oh, the Beatles. And they'd be like, well, hold on. It's Tracy Jordan on 30 Rock when he tries to sing the national anthem at a baseball game. He doesn't know the words. For the rascals we fought. This is a pretty cool scene, though. It's it laid the foundation for the Tiny Dancer sequence and Almost Famous and all these things that I have done in Southland Tales.
The Battle of the Bands, Scott Pilgrim.
There you go. Yeah. So it's a good time. But, it's also shrouded in sadness because everyone's like crying. And I don't know. You watch this, Julio, at least I did. And I was like, man, I've never once reacted to the national anthem that way.
Yet, Alex.
There you go.
Yet. It's supposed to be a moment of, if not full redemption, at least something to give you hope that maybe Rick is capable of doing noble things, right? It's a combination of this and also the fact that he spares Renault's latest victim from having to sleep with Renault, right? Mm-hmm. This woman was about to give herself to Renault because they don't have the money to pay him for the visas, and her husband is losing at the roulette. And so Rick, without telling her he's going to do this, he just goes in, and I guess he's a crook through and through, right? Because it's clear now that he has control over who wins in his casino. Mm-hmm. And you could lose your license for this. Like, really, Renault should have closed the casino because they were cheating, not because there was gambling. The machines are rigged. But anyway, Rick makes it so this guy wins like 4 times in a row and then cashes out, and Renault's left with his dick in his hand, proverbially, maybe even literally later in the night.
That scene made the cutting room floor.
Renault furiously masturbating in Rick's office.
He walks in. What the hell's going on in here?
Ricky, close the door or join in.
Yeah, it's a shame that this all happened so quick because we didn't really get to simmer with that line of Bogart. Ask your wife. I was like, that's a Jerry Springer fight ready to happen right there.
Right. How do you follow that up? What happens between these two alpha males? I don't know. I was wondering, this is where Casablanca is just affected by its age, by its reputation, by being watched by anybody who's watched a handful of movies. When you're watching this, that this is all a ploy, a storytelling ploy. You know that Rick actually cares. In fact, the fact that he keeps telling people, that's another catchphrase of his, Alex, I don't stick my neck for nobody. Something along those lines, right? Mm-hmm. You're saying that because you actually do. There's a squishy middle underneath Humphrey Bogart's toughness. And so we know that this is all pretend that he's actually going to be a good guy at the end. It's just going to take him the entire movie to get there. So I was trying to think, what does it look like if Casablanca doesn't treat this like a secret? If from the beginning we know that Rick's actually a pretty good guy and it's just a pretense, right? He's running this club pretending to be neutral because he knows that that's good for business and that keeps him out of danger. But he's not keeping it from the audience. He's only keeping it from the Nazis. And so that way we don't have to go through this pretend bullshit between Rick and us, right? When he's alone by him, or with Sam, with his allies, he can just be an actual hero instead of still trying to be a bad boy for us. He can be a bad boy for the people outside, but for the audience, just let us know the secret because that's a lot more fun. That way I don't have to wait until you do something heroic or something kind of heroic like what he does here in these scenes. That'll be a lot more entertaining.
Yeah, but it's also 1942, and the idea of the twist ending I don't think was really prevalent, so Curtis and the gang putting this movie together, like, and then he'll pull the gun on roulette. Like, it's
What?
Later, Ilsa confronts Rick in a deserted cafe. When he refused to give her the letters, she threatens him with a gun, but then confesses that she still loves him. She explains that when they met and fell in love in Paris, she believed her husband had been killed while attempting to escape from a concentration camp. So that's it. She tells him earlier in the movie that she was married, but here we get the actual backstory that she actually loved him and thought he was dead. That's why she was out gallivanting.
She got a whole pass. You go to a concentration camp, you get a whole pass.
Her negotiation skills need a little work. She starts with please and then goes from that to pulling a gun on him. So it's a quick escalation here.
It works though, because it escalates to sex.
Implied, yes.
You know what they say? Implied or not, sex is still sex. Bogart knows it. Everybody knows it in Casablanca.
Dan Fogler in Casablanca.
This is the beginning of a beautiful friendship.
Sex! It's still sex!
This is, Alex, the end of the Ilsa character as a character. Say goodbye to whatever agency you were appreciating on Ilsa, on Ingrid Bergman's performance. It peaks when she pulls a gun on that son of a bitch, Rick, and then everything else crumbles when she, instead of shooting him, tells him, you know what, I still love you, and I'm going to cheat on my husband with you, and from now on, you just tell me what to do, because I'm going to stop thinking for myself. It was devastating to watch.
When she learned that Lazlo was alive and hiding near Paris, she left Rick without explanation to nurse her sick husband. Rick's bitterness dissolves. He agrees to help, letting Ilsa believe she and Rick will stay together while Lazlo leaves Casablanca. When Lazlo unexpectedly shows up, having narrowly escaped a police raid on a resistance meeting, Rick has waiter Carl spirit Ilsa away. Lazlo, aware of Rick's love for Ilsa, tries to persuade him to use the letters to take her to safety. So now, his heart grew 3 sizes and he's going to help out with the situation.
I mean, sex usually makes you happy. So now that he's gotten laid, he's achieved that post-ejaculation clarity. Like, well, how can I stick it to the Germans the way that I just stuck it to Ilsa and Lazlo? Best moment of acting in the movie, Alex, when this bartender walks into Rick's office and sees Ingmar Bergman, and then he shoots Rick a look like, what did you just do?
What? Why does it smell like sex in here? So he puts on the front that he's going to help, but then with Renault, he starts devising this plan where they're going to get apprehended. Explain this to me, Julio.
It seems like Rick fell prey to that common screenwriter affliction, overcomplicating the third act. All right, well, let's see if we can make sense of this. So Rick has the letters. All he has to do is give the letters to Ilsa and Lazlo and then put them on a plane, right? That's all he needs. He doesn't need to involve anybody else for this to work. Am I wrong?
No, it's pretty cut and dry. It seems, at least in his mind, the plan is.
Right. So why does he bring Renault into this other than to fake the audience out? Right? Like the only reason that we have that scene where Rick goes and tells Renault, I'm telling them this, but instead we're going to do this, is because as an audience member, you have to wonder, is Rick actually going to betray them so that he can stay with Ilsa? Which, of course, like I just said, that doesn't work if you're somebody watching the movie today. Probably somebody watching the movie 40 years ago. You would be like, no, it's Rick. It's Humphrey Bogart. He's playing them. But yeah, because he chooses to go to Renault, that means that now he has to hold Renault hostage when things go south. When he makes things go south. Yeah, I don't understand why he couldn't just stick to the original plan as Lazlo had conceived it, right? Instead of Ugarte giving him the letters, it's Rick giving him the letters, and then everything else plays out the same.
When police arrest Lazlo on a trumped-up charge, Rick persuades Renault to release him by promising to set Lazlo up for a much more serious crime.
Okay, I take it back. So that's why he went to Renault.
Possession of the letters.
Because Lazlo was arrested.
Yeah. To allay Renault's suspicions, Rick explains that he and Ilsa will use the letters to leave for America. So he's just taking the girl and he's hitting Vegas. When Renault tries to arrest Lazlo as arranged, however, Rick forces him at gunpoint to assist in their escape. Says something like, "Now, just a minute. I wouldn't do that if I were you." Yeah, and the big reveal. It's a powerful gun too. One shot kill. He's got his gun on what's the game mode on GoldenEye? License to Kill. That's like the elite. That's the one where if you get shot once, no matter what the gun is, you die. That was always like when the crew wasn't fucking around and it was time to find out who the baddest at GoldenEye was you put it on License to Kill mode. And that's what Humphrey Bogart's playing with here.
Pointing the gun at his only friend. It's a risky move. I will revise my criticism because it still applies, right? Okay, so he needed to go talk to Renault to get Lazlo out. Why wouldn't he give himself more time? Why doesn't he tell Renault, hey, I'm going to set them up for tomorrow night? And then he puts him on the plane that night. That's all he needed to do. Instead, Rick's plan basically sets it up so that Renault has to be there. It has to be held at gunpoint before Lazlo and Ilsa can escape. So it's still overcomplicated for the sake of just confusing the audience. I don't like it.
At the last moment, Rick makes Ilsa board the plane to Lisbon with Lazlo, telling her that she'll regret it if she stayed. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but soon and for the rest of your life. Strasser, tipped off by Renault, drives up alone. When Strasser attempts to stop the plane, he then draws a gun on Rick. But Rick, quick draw fucking Bogart over here, shoots him dead. Policemen arrive. Renault orders them to round up the usual suspects. He suggests to Rick that they join the Free French in Brazzaville. And as they walk away into the fog, Rick says, "Louis, I think this is the beginning of a beautiful friendship." So my main takeaway from the closing stretch here, Julio, is that lighting used to matter in films. But, he has to tell Ilsa, the woman he loves, to go off with another dude. And
he had to tell a woman what to do, Alex. Let's put it plainly.
Well, there's that too. But I was going to say, as an audience member, it kind of leaves you a little bittersweet because you want fucking Hump and Ilsa to end up together in the end, but it's just not to be. I do.
I don't know, man. The movie has to work over time, especially with today's sensibilities, I think, to make it make sense that anybody would choose Bogart here, other than prime sex appeal, I guess, right? Like if you're comparing them, if you're Ilsa and you have these two men, and society has put you in a position where you have to choose one of them, you can't just go on your own. So are you choosing the badass freedom fighter that has ideals, that has been fighting the Nazis for years now, and who seems to have a very deliberate sense of purpose, and who's happy to take you to America to, continue having meaningful lives? Or do you choose the drunkard that has been hiding from the war and avoiding any responsibilities here in a bar that's known for being corrupt and kind of like a den of thievery? Which one do you choose? Like, if you are just basically the stereotypical person that's going to go for the bad boy, I guess Bogart is the obvious answer.
If I'm in a movie, it's different than thinking pragmatically.
Well, I'm asking you to think pragmatically.
A war-torn country, dude. Like, yes, obviously, Julio. If I'm in a country in a situation where tensions are rising due to war, and it's like, hey, you can go here and be fine. It's like, yeah, I'm gonna go do that
with this guy that loves you.
Stranger things have happened.
Look, I'm fine. I'm fine with Ilsa choosing Rick. I'm fine with Ilsa choosing Lazlo. I would just like Ilsa to choose. That's the problem. She's kind of like carted around like a piece of luggage in the third act. They just tell her she never knows what's happening, right? The only person who knows what's happening is Rick, because even Lazlo is blindsided. If I understand correctly, Lazlo goes with them to the airport under the impression that the people getting on the plane are going to be Rick and Ilsa, right? Mm-hmm. He's come to peace with that. Please protect my wife. So that's Lazlo decided to make a decision for Ilsa too. Like, you know what? I don't care if you love him or not, but this guy's going to take care of you while I stay here because I'm attracting too much heat. But then Rick's plan is obviously to put both of them in the plane and he stays behind. Nobody really thought to ask Ilsa what she wants, or even, although they probably already knew and they just decided not to care.
Sweetheart, you're being hysterical.
Yeah. Listen, I know better. In fact, it's part of his big speech, Alex, when Bogey is delivering that final line, when he goes with another classic, the problems of three little people don't amount to
hill of beans.
Hill of beans. He says something like,
Someday you'll understand that. Now. He's looking at you, kid.
Completely condescending to this woman that he claims to love. I was like, man, I missed the first part of the movie when Ilsa was making decisions that were fucking these men's lives. At least she was in control of her own destiny. And here, no, just bored, cry. You'll get over it. Now let me have fun with the boys, because now I'm gonna hang out with Renault and we're really gonna fuck shit up for the Third Reich.
Your time will come. This will all make sense one day.
Yeah. One day you will look back at our time in Casablanca and think, we'll always have Paris. That's another banger deployed here. Is it an overload of bangers now, Alex, when you watch this last stretch of the movie?
It's a lot. It's honestly shocking of how much of this is like just part of the lexicon at this point. And then especially when she says, "Forget it, Rick, it's Chinatown." I was like, oh shit. I could have swore that was from another movie.
When Rick says, "Louis, I think this is the beginning of a beautiful friendship," I was like, I get it, it's Casablanca.
But yeah, then they close out with an unbelievable crane shot that for the time people had to be riding in the streets. Like, how'd they do that? It's a floating camera. And then, I mean, to give it the ultimate compliment here, we're in and out in an hour 40. And as Julio and I always will celebrate, no matter the film, the end title card, and then it's over. Like, we don't need any of these. I don't need to know who the gaff was on this or dude. Speaking of that, did you see this? I didn't stay for it, but the credits for the new Naked Gun, like there was some fake credits sprinkled throughout that. Did you see any of that?
I caught some. I wasn't paying attention, and then I paid attention at the very end. I was like, hey, this is funny. Has this been going on the entire time?
Yeah, there was one I saw that it said Netflix password, and then it just had like this random string of letters.
I think I saw that one. One last quote, Alex, from the movie, not from critics, just because we were talking about bangers. And I don't know if it's the ultimate quote from Casablanca, but it's definitely the one that you probably know this. Everybody listening to this episode knows this, but it's worth pointing out that it's not "play it again, Sam," even though that's what people quote, right? She never says "play it again, Sam." She says a different combination of words. Hey, Sam, play it. Play whatever, right? She never says "play it again, Sam." Bogey never says "play it again, Sam." But people usually say, "Oh yeah, play it again, Sam." That's like the quote. So even knowing this, in the middle of the movie when Ingrid Bergman shows up and she starts talking to Sam and she starts going on her speech and trying to get him to play, I was waiting for it to say it. It's like, Bergman, learn your lines.
Do the roar.
Anyway.
Do you feel cool when this is over, Julio?
I feel a little sad that this is, and it's a little bit of real talk, but it's just the world, right? They made this movie while World War II was raging on. Mm-hmm. I want to say they started, like pre-production might have started before the attack on Pearl Harbor, but then by the time this movie came out, Pearl Harbor had already happened. Like Rick was already fighting against Nazis. He couldn't sit it out anymore. I don't know what, like even if you made the equivalent of Casablanca today, I think we would just roll our eyes at it'd be just like so on the nose. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like even when Oliver Stone made World Trade Center, I guess a year or two after the World Trade Center tragedy, it was a little, I don't want to say cringe, because, psychologically it was, the entire country was kind of fucked up, but it felt like, I know it was well intentioned, but it felt a little bit like pandering, like, I don't know, like too soon. Mm-hmm. Here, like the world's still going on. And they released this movie, and I know it wasn't like at the time. I mean, it did well, but it wasn't the instant classic. I mean, there was no way for them to know. I guess at the time, it wasn't what it is today. But still, it was. I wonder if there were people that went to see the movie, went to see Casablanca in theaters, and they were kind of rolling their eyes. They're like, "Oh my god, yes, I know it. We're in the middle of the war. I just wanted to have fun. Can we have a fun movie instead?"
Yeah, but also, kind of like with The Great Dictator, you wonder how aware some places of the world were watching this of like what was going on. You know what I mean?
Who is Humphrey Bogart? Who is this guy?
What's gambling?
I'll tell you this: the idea of Humphrey Bogart as the cool guy. I mean, that is something that has aged very interestingly.
James Dean, the Brad Pitt, like thinking of who's Idris Elba, who's another cool guy. Like just thinking of like Humphrey Bogart being pictured alongside them.
Elliot Gould.
Ooh,
Elliot Gould.
Elliot Gould is a cool guy in that movie. That's for damn sure. But I mean, Casablanca. It's kind of easy to have the fun, and that was an easy kind of jaunt through Casablanca. I'm going to kind of spoil the second half. I think it's going to be exactly what you're expecting us to say about it. But maybe not. Maybe Julio will have a curveball to throw at me.
I mean, it's no barbed wire, but I think that I said that back when we did the barbed wire episode.
The biggest difference is we didn't go into barbed wire being told this is the greatest movie ever made. So we're like, all right, well, hang on now. There's a little bit of business picking up over here. So Julio, you ready to get on that plane?
Yes, I got my letters signed. I didn't have to have sex with the inspector to get them. Instead, I just won at the roulette. So let's get out of here.